Good morning. It's another hazy, lazy Saturday morning across our beautiful land. All you gorgeous people out there, shake off those cobwebs, rattle those bones, and prepare to seize this brand new day. And to help you ease into your weekend, put up your feet for half an hour and join us as we have breakfast with Saira.
How did that little horror with the sweet tooth know exactly where you had hidden the chocolate biscuits? How did your son know that you had promised to take him to the football match, although you had not said a word about it? The answer in both cases can be logical and simple. Your children can read your mind. Our special guest this morning is a management and training consultant. He has done extensive research into the specific area of the power of the mind. Derek Wilinski is going to take us on an exploratory journey through the many facets of our minds. Derek, welcome to our program this morning.
Thank you, Sarah.
This is all very fascinating and quite mind-boggling. Exactly what is the mind?
Well, Sarah, there are two main aspects to the mind. One, the conscious mind, and two, the subconscious mind. Now, if we take the word conscious, it comes from the Latin scere, which means to do things knowingly. So conscious implies to do things knowingly, while sub means below conscious, or to do things unknowingly.
I'm still confused. What is the subconscious mind?
Okay, let me give you some philosophical proof that the subconscious mind does exist. Have you ever experienced, for example, being at a meeting or at a party and you forget the name of a person, a friend maybe?
Often.
And then, that's right, and about 2 hours later, or maybe a bit longer, suddenly the name pops into your head. What's actually happened there is your subconscious mind has gone and sifted through your memory banks and brought that name to the fore. Or else another case of the subconscious mind existing is that dinner party, and two of the guests stay on longer and longer, and it's now 2 o'clock in the morning, and even your yawning is not giving them the message that they must go home. At 3 o'clock, they finally decide to go home, so you stand up and you walk to the door and say, "Thanks very much for going." Oops, I mean for coming. Something along those lines. What's actually happened is you didn't mean to say thank you for going, but your subconscious mind is fed up with them and had his little dig. It's called a Freudian slip. Again, it's proof that there's something else working beyond our level of consciousness out there.
Is there any scientific proof that the subconscious mind does in fact exist?
We have an aura above our body, which is one of the planes of existence in which the subconscious mind exists in, which can be photographed.
Let's glean some insight into the fascinating world of auras. We were fortunate to meet Celeste van der Merwe, who came all the way from Stellenbosch to share her knowledge of the auras with us. Celeste, what is an aura?
An aura is an electromagnetic field which interpenetrates our bodies and surrounds our bodies. The size of the aura is approximately as far as you can stretch your hands out, upwards and sideways. It also stretches right down to our feet. It also has a certain shape. It's normally oval shape. Depending on the kind of energy that we have and on our emotions and mental state, the shape might change slightly. Like, for instance, if we have a fear of something, it might retract upon itself a little bit. If we're feeling very, very sunny and exhilarated, it might expand quite a lot.
Celeste, can you explain what these different colors actually mean?
When we look at the colors right on top, we see pink and blue. That's the way you see yourself and also your higher aspirations towards which you are always striving. Pink is love. It's the love vibration, which comes from the heart center. Blue is a very fine vibration. It's a very subtle vibration. It means intuition. Just very basically explaining this to you now, I could go more in depth. When we look at your spiritual body over here, that's the pink area over there, that is mainly the love vibration. I would say with the blue sitting right on top and the pink in your spiritual body, and also there's lots of blue over that area, that you have achieved inner peace. You probably do meditation or have done meditation in the past. It's reflected. You're probably a very calm and center-pointed kind of person. and you strive towards expressing that love. Whatever you do and say would always carry the love vibration, which is the pink vibration.
So in layman's terms, how can that reflect what's going through a person's mind?
We have magnetic energy fields in our bodies, as I said. Our brains are electromagnetic. Okay, our bodies are electromagnetic as well. The way that this works is when you put your hand on the energy plates. When I took the pictures, it actually absorbed your energy out of your hand into the plates, and fed it into this machine over here, which contains software, which translated the speed of your vibrations of your electromagnetic field into color resolution. And this is just a Polaroid mounted on the software, which then superimposes the colors onto your Polaroid photo.
This, I think, is a subject on its own. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you.
Derek, let's move on from here. Are you familiar with the work of internationally renowned doctor and author Deepak Chopra, who in his book Quantum Healing says, and I'll quote, that all diseases result from the disruptive flow of the intelligence? Can you explain that?
Yes, I think the message he's trying to get across is that our thoughts can influence our physical bodies, that certain ailments are related to certain thought patterns. In other words, what he's saying is that our mind influences our physical body. For example, there are many cases of people who have cancer and they're related to a certain thought process. But there has been other research done in that field. In fact, we have a local lady in South Africa who is internationally acclaimed in her work in researching this particular aspect, and she will probably have more insight than I do.
Let's meet Chris Stormer, a recognized authority on reflexology. Chris, what is reflexology?
Reflexology is an ancient form of healing that's been passed down from generation to generation. It's manipulation and massage of the reflexes in the feet for the overall or well-being of the whole body. And this is because the body is reflected into the feet in miniature, and therefore by pressing a certain part of the foot, we get a corresponding reaction in the body.
We often take our feet for granted. How can they reflect what's on our conscious and subconscious minds?
The feet take the whole weight of the body on them, and we refer to the feet in many ways, and through our language we talk about standing on our own 2 feet, a foot in the door, the rug pulled under the feet. And of course the feet therefore take the brunt of life. They also take the impact of life, and they are literally the windows to the soul. This is because every state of the body, be it health or disease, is a state of the mind. It's reflecting the state of the mind. So the body is reflected through the feet, and therefore we can see how a person's thinking, how they're using their attributes, or how they are feeling threatened by social belief systems, or feeling entrapped in our so-called modern day of life.
Let's look at the feet that we have in front of us. Apart from the fact that they need a lot of sun, what do these feet reflect?
The toes reflect the head reflexes and the brain reflexes, so they actually show us how we think. The right foot is the past and the left foot is the present. So the front of the soles of the feet reflect the front of the body, and the tops of the feet the back of the body. So everything that goes on the top of the feet are what's going on behind us, what we put in behind us, and everything that goes on in the front of the body is what we perceive is actually going on in our life. The size and shape of the toe will show what sort of thinker the person is. So, for example, these toes are very round, so this person is very capable of thinking in a very expansive way, whereas if they're straight and narrow, they tend to think very much within the straight and narrow confines. If they're pointed, they get very much to the point in their thinking. Also, the way the toes stand, it shows, these being the face reflexes, shows whether we can actually face up to our own ideas, because being the brain, this reflects our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions in life. The big toe is the main reflex for the head, and they should really stand completely upright when we're on track with our own thinking. But what happens is, because we're forever trying to please other people, they tend to bend, and of course the more they bend, the more they knock the other ideas. So then we start getting the foot disorders. So somebody whose big toe knocks the second toe often believes that they're not good enough because each toe reflects a certain aspect of thought. The big toe is the intellectual toe. The second toe reflects how we feel about ourselves, our self-esteem, self-worth. And so a long second toe shows a potential leader. The next toe, the third toe, is to do with our doing, our ideas of how to do things. The fourth toe is how we communicate. So a big fourth toe is a very good communicator. I'm sure you have one. And the little toe is to do with family and expansion of mind.
This all sounds very impressive, but is it not perhaps a case of uncomfortable shoes making feet look the way they are?
It's actually very interesting because in fact the feet are made up of something like 28 small bones and about 32 ligaments and plenty of muscles. And in a natural state the feet will fall back into their natural relaxed state if the body is relaxed and there's no tension in the body. The only time the feet will take on the shape or the distortions of a shoe is when there's tension in the mind. So the shoes are not the cause of disorders, but of course if the person's feeling tense, it may create bunions and so on. But in fact, working with the subconscious reflection of the mind, we have found that, of course, bunions occur when the more this toe bends, the greater the protrusion here. So you can have gentlemen who wear the most exquisitely fitting shoes, but will still have the most horrendous bunions and corns, etc. And then you can have women who squeeze their shoes into the most fashionable tight shoes, and as soon as they take their delicate feet out, they slip back into their natural state.
For our viewers wondering at home whose feet these are Derek's feet. Chris, thank you for giving us a very interesting insight into feet.
Thank you, Sarah.
Derek, if the mind is so powerful and can have an impact on our physical health, surely we can, through control of the mind, heal our bodies as well.
Very definitely, Sarah. That is seen in the fact that alcoholics cannot be cured unless they recognize that they are alcoholics. They have to take that first step. Once they know the problem, then they can adjust their mind to healing the problem. But over and above that, there are many cases of people who the doctors could not heal and who have healed themselves through the power of their own thought process or their own mind power.
Felicity Bilovich found herself in a desperate situation in which drugs and medical intervention were not appropriate. In spite of feeling misunderstood by everybody, she managed to haul herself back from the brink of despair to her present state of inner peace. Felicity, the lady sitting in front of me is radiating a wonderful sense of peace and harmony within herself. Obviously, it took you a while to get to this point. Tell me about your story.
Well, I had a very traumatic experience where I actually ended up in a mental institution. And I spent 3 months there after having already spent 3 months in a psychiatric ward in a general hospital.
So how did you overcome all this?
Well, I think in the end I realized that I had to do an inner journey. I had to look inside myself. And on this journey, I found something incredible. That deep down inside one, in the core of one's psyche, there's an unfathomable depth. And this depth is actually an energy. It's the source of everything that we are. For some people it may be God or Creator, but if we can tap into this energy, we'll find that it ties in with the energy of the universe and our minds, and once our minds are geared the right way, there's no holding us back. It's absolutely an unlimited source. It never comes to an end.
Would you say that for you it was a positive attitude or your mind and the willpower that might have brought you to this point?
I'd say attitude and is part of it. But in the end, you have to take control. And you have to say, this is what I can do. It's what I want. You have to have a goal. You have to have a vision, purpose. And I had the vision. I thought I want to help people. I visualized a book. And I thought that's what I'm going to do. And I hung in there. It wasn't easy. I think you have to draw on all those inner resources that we have. It's not bricks and mortar we need. It's all there inside us if we just draw on it and use it.
There are a number of people addicted to drugs, alcohol, or people who have eating disorders. Do you believe that your philosophy could perhaps help them?
Oh, most certainly. Because I think once you've grasped how this works, you don't have to look out of yourself for remedies or solutions. Our Creator actually gave us everything we created with coping mechanisms. And if we get in touch with those, we don't need outside substances or anything to help us. It's there in us.
You've even written a book. What were you hoping to share with your readers?
I really hope that in the end, that whatever their problems were, they'd found if they put their mind to it, they would find new inner peace, which I really think is what every South African is looking for. If you've got peace within yourself, there's no doubt you can conquer anything that's outside of yourself.
Felicity, thank you.
Thank you.
Derek, let's return to your field of work. As a management consultant, what single ingredient do successful men and women have that others don't have?
Well, there was research done by Fortune 500, which is an American magazine that measures the top successful companies in America. And they interviewed 5 of the top companies in America, the chief executive officer or the managing director. And all of them said they had one trait that they said made them successful that was common. That was they went by their gut feel, or they relied on their intuition. So I believe these people had a communication with their subconscious mind, which, as you know, what intuition is.
All right, how is it possible for one person to influence the minds of others? Take Hitler, for example.
Very definitely it can be influenced. Hitler is a point that we can refer to, but it happens all the time. For example, a person can come into a room at a party where the party is dead, and they effuse and they bubble and they sparkle, and very soon that whole room is sparkling with them. And it can happen when a person comes into a room when they're tired and they start yawning and the whole room yawns with them. But I think we see it more often when somebody puts a curse on somebody else, as is very common with the Aborigines. The witch doctor can point a bone at somebody and that person dies because his belief system is that when the bone is pointed at him, he will die.
Earlier on, Derek and I met Jeff Dangle, who claims to have cured someone who believed she had been cursed. Jeff and Barbara, the two of you look like pretty ordinary people to me, but what is it that you do?
Well, we actually are ordinary people, but we're spiritual healers, and we work with a form of healing that is totally unique here on earth. We found in our work as healers, Saira, that many ailments actually have a mental and an emotional impact on the human body, and through our healing we've actually developed a technique whereby the patient, by utilizing the power of their own mind, can become a part of their healing process.
Jeff, tell me about the lady that you cured.
Florence has been with us for about 2-3 years now, and during that time she's been ill all the time, in and out of hospital, various diseases. Last week she came back out of hospital after being there for a few days, where she was told that they could do nothing more for her, that her problem was actually a curse that had been placed on her.
Well, let's meet Florence and hear what she has to say.
After my master is Benny for Muti, and it's go to house for sleeping. Me the start for stomach of me is running, is a pain, and a vomiting, black, and I take for the water, and I drink water, it's come again black. Use a 3 twice and drink for jug of water. Is a drink, is a vomiting, black. And after that, and me is very hungry. Me is eat 6 slices of bread and 2 cups of tea. And you start now, me is eat food and very hungry. In the morning is eat breakfast.
Do you believe that you actually cured Florence of this ailment?
She seems to be totally cured. She's a new person after what happened last week. She's sprightly, she's healthy, she's eating for the first time properly in ages.
Barbara, what treatment did you carry out, or how did you go about healing her?
Well, this actually wasn't a healing as such, but what we did, as Jeffrey and I have developed ourselves and the power of our own minds, we're able to access the unseen realms of existence where thoughts actually take form. And we discovered that this curse that was placed on Florence was actually the directed energy of very malevolent thought, focused around some physical objects which were placed within her room to act as a focus of these negative entities and which actually affected her body physically. So what we do, Jeffrey is a trance medium. He has the ability to remove his consciousness out of his body and allow a spiritual guide to work with us, who then assists us to break the power of this entity and then set people like Florence free, who then their minds are freed from this negative energy, and then the mind can actually begin to reassert itself in a normal state of being, and the body then follows suit.
Jeff, help me to understand. Is it possible to place a curse on somebody?
If they'll accept it, yes. And Florence, being the person that she is, accepted that this had been done to her, that she'd had a curse placed on her. She was having dreams telling her that she was cursed.
Barbara, this is quite dangerous, whatever we're talking about. Are we saying that one person has the power to radiate all these negative thoughts to another person, to that person's detriment?
Yes, Sarah, that is true. Any thought actually has got the ability to impinge on someone else. I'm sure you've been in the company of someone who's depressed and you walk away feeling rather sad and depressed yourself. And certain people with malevolent intentions have developed the power of the mind to such a degree that they can affect the lives of others.
Derek, one often attributes strength with physical prowess. Now, is there any merit in that belief?
Yes, strength and physical prowess are very closely connected, but another factor that should be brought into account is the mental prowess, because there is a saying that the subtle affects the gross. What that simply means is that the mental is more subtle than the physical and therefore should be more powerful. This can be seen in Tai Chi, and we're fortunate to be able to speak to Ken Berman, who is a Tai Chi master, who will show us exactly the power of the mind over the physical.
Ken, can we see what you and Lawrence are going to demonstrate for us?
Certainly. What we're going to look at is demonstrating body-mind coordination in Tai Chi and Aikido type applications, and showing how the mind and the body unite and create internal energy.
Let's have a look.
Okay. Let's start. Put in some real tension, resist it, and what I'm going to try and do is bend his arm through using brute force. Okay.
Did that hurt, Lawrence?
Not really. That's when you resist. What I'm going to do is the exact opposite. I'm going to put a firm, relaxed arm with the mind coming up from the lower abdomen, where you generate your internal energy, coming up the spine and energy spraying through the fingers. And he's going to do the same sort of thing. Okay. Now he's stressing and straining, and I'm just very relaxed.
I can see he is.
If you feel the muscle of my arm, you'll feel it's very relaxed.
It is, quite. I feel that. How can this help in everyday life?
In everyday life, it helps one to be centered, or to not get involved with negative things, or to feel personally attacked, or to let stress get the better of one. And through this kind of projection of energy, you have good concentration, good memory, and you can behave efficiently and achieve things easily.
Well, can we see other things that you men can do for us?
Certainly.
I'm just going to step out because
Right.
it looked a little dangerous.
We'll do some pushing hands. Is that okay? Let's try. One more. Overhead attack.
Derek, is it possible to develop a control of one's mind?
I think mankind is in that search continuously. We are trying to control our mind so that we can control our reality. There are various techniques that one can do to actually link between the conscious and the subconscious mind in the form of visualization. Why we visualize is because your subconscious mind talks to you in pictures. When you dream, that is your subconscious mind talking to you. It does not understand a language, it only understands symbols, keys, and pictures. So visualization is a very powerful tool to access that subconscious mind. There is a technique where people can actually master the physical through their mind in the form of firewalking. They use a process of visualization to give them power over the physical body.
Let's take a look.
I'm standing about a meter away from what appears to be hot coals. The heat is already unbearable. We're about to witness men, women, and a 9-year-old boy walk bare feet along these hot coals.
Right, we just want to build the energy up, so we're going to do a hand bounce. So, and just to get some support, it'd be nice if you can just remind me that this is just cool moss that I'm walking on.
Cool moss.
Cool moss, 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 cool moss.
Peter, do you have any blisters?
No, nothing whatsoever, Sarah.
Can this have any impact on society in general? How can this be of use to us?
Well, again, from a personal empowerment point of view, I believe if everybody is willing to be responsible for themselves and discover that it's possible for me to overcome the barriers in my life, I can improve the quality of my life. And the more I raise the quality of my life, so everybody else must benefit from that. So I believe that that's one approach to life.
Derek, surely this power of the mind can have a negative influence as well and dangerous repercussions, especially if we're talking about controlling other people's minds.
Sarah, I think you've hit a very good point. Electricity is a substance that can help you to cook your food. It can also kill. Electricity is not bad. It's the person who uses the electricity that makes it good or bad. The same with the power of the mind. And I think we should all be aware of that.
Derek, thank you for your time. You've given our breakfast program a lot of food for thought. A fascinating subject indeed. Well, I'll see you next week at the same time, same place.